Hi everyone, let me set the context of the video. This video, we're contributing to Clawdbot slash Moltbot slash OpenClaw. We did this contribution live during a Super 30 class. I had zero context of the code base. This was done 2 days after Clawdbot was released as a project. For those of you who don't know, Clawdbot is a not very recent, but like a 1 week old project now that's been trending really well. I think when we were contributing, it was at 30,000 stars. It's right now at 160,000 stars on GitHub. It's a new way for you to connect to agentic applications, LLMs, and a bunch of non-agentic Web2 applications. For example, if you want to using your WhatsApp update something in Notion, which is something that I do from time to time, or if you want to talk to your database from your Telegram or your WhatsApp, it lets you do that. It's just connected a lot of external services through AI. Some of these services being messaging applications like Telegram or WhatsApp. So it just basically unlocked a very obvious use case that I think a lot of people thought of, but in a very streamlined, open source and free to use fashion, which is connecting messaging applications to anything that an AI can do. The common use cases for me right now have been just talking to my database from time to time. I have to talk to my database to gather some stats. Small example of this is if I want to ever delete videos in a bunch of places in the course, there is no delete button or functionality that is exposed. So I've given the LLM access to my database, which is a very scary thing, but I have. And whenever I want to delete a video, I ask through my WhatsApp phone for the AI to delete it. It runs an SQL query directly to the database and deletes a specific video. The other common use case I've been using it for is creating slides for the cohort. So whenever I want to create slides, I just give it a set of topics. Again, through my WhatsApp. This isn't anything that couldn't be done before it. The new thing that Clawdbot adds is connecting a messaging app to it, which I think is one of the reasons it's doing so well. This video specifically is right after it was released. There were a few issues that we went through. We went through the code base. The code base is in TypeScript that we're pretty familiar with, and we tried to target one specific issue of cron jobs being broken. We spent around 2 hours trying to get to the roots of what might be wrong, and by the end realized there was another pull request 2 days ago that actually broke the cron jobs, which basically means if you would tell Clawdbot to remind you of a meeting, it was not reminding you of the meeting because the specific cron job wouldn't trigger. How we fixed it, the actual approach we used in real time to go through the code base and understand the issue is what will be covered in this video. The first part of the video has not the best audio for the first 5 minutes. And then you should see good audio and good video right after. That's enough context, I think, for this video. Hopefully, you like the contribution. The week right after, we contributed to open code. So there are like a bunch of TypeScript AI libraries that are now doing really well and trending on GitHub. You'll find a list of some of these probably in the description somewhere. If you want to contribute to them, please contribute, wisely. Even though there are a lot of pull requests coming in right now, and hence most of the times maintainers don't have time to look at most of them. So probably not the best time to contribute to them. Probably a great time to understand how they work. With that context, let's get into the video. Today we are looking at. Well, I think we've all built a lot of our own projects. To actually see some TypeScript expertise, it would be nice to see how many of us can understand this slightly bigger TypeScript project. It's nothing crazy, even though there is some AI, it's like very limited. Mostly it's, a lot of what they have built is a gateway, basically an HTTP or a WebSocket layer, a web app, a mobile app on Android and iOS, Telegram integration, WhatsApp integration, hundreds of integrations, actually, hundreds of skills and tools. I don't know how many of you have tried this. Has anyone tried playing with this? Okay, so setup ho gaya kya locally. I tried playing with it yesterday. It sort of works. I mean, does what you expect it to do. I was able to hook it up to my Telegram, and this is a conversation that I had with it yesterday. It was able to create slides for the cohort from here itself. I asked it to create a bunch of slides. Ye sari ki sari slides usne khud hi banai. So I was able to connect it to my Notion. I was able to simply talk to it from here. And it was able to create slides for me. Then I asked it to create a video. It also created like
assignments. Let's go.
A video for me for the next bootcamp class. So it sort of works. It's all in TypeScript, fairly readable. I found a few issues that we can try and pick and try to solve together. The number of issues are increasing very quickly. I don't know if that issue still exists, but yesterday I saw an issue that indeed was an issue. Let me see if I can find it again. There are too many issues being created. Basically, इनकी cron job नहीं चल रही है. I can find the exact issue also. But what I did was yesterday, there was an issue that said that the cron job isn't working as expected. What is a cron job? I asked it to, do something. For example, I said, can you remind me of a meeting in 5 minutes? It said, I'll ping you at 5:0052. It didn't though. I asked the student, remind me. Then I said, can you remind me again in 2 minutes? Toastmate gave me like a mild reminder. I don't know if this was a final reminder or not. But basically here you can see, I asked it to remind me of a meeting in 5 minutes. It did not do it. So cron jobs इनकी नहीं चल रही हैं. We'll try to, that's one issue I can, solve with you together. Or there are like a bunch of issues, we can go through them, one by one and try to see कौन सा चल रहा है, कौन सा नहीं चल रहा है. How many of us have set this up locally and, have a locally working version? 1, 2, 3, I guess. Decent bunch. It's pretty simple, so I would urge you to do it. What did you guys use? Gemini API key, is it working? So you can use the free Gemini API key. Great. So let's clone the project locally. The project is now called Moltbot. Until yesterday it was something else. I cloned it yesterday. Until yesterday it was called Clawdbot. And it's effectively a CLI. I think in architecture is like very close to Kubernetes, which is, you can create a master sort of a node or a control plane, and then, you can have basically a cluster of machines, jahan pe the tasks can be, spawned, and, basically you can create a cluster, jahan pe you're talking to the master through Telegram, and it's delegating tasks to, a bunch of individual worker machines. It also works with a one node setup, which is what we'll do. After you clone the project locally, just run a pnpm install, and then when you run pnpm run build followed by pnpm run start, it should mostly work for you. They have written a lot of code, but the code is very verbose, and it's very, they've tried to cover every corner case in the code, including if you're on a Windows machine or a Mac machine or a Linux machine. So it should mostly just work for everyone, even if you are, on a Windows machine. When you run pnpm run start, it outputs something like this, which is, what you expect from a command line interface or a CLI, Clawdbot, some version, and then its usage. Then it'll show you a bunch of these commands that it supports: Clawdbot setup, Clawdbot onboard, configure, so on and so forth. These are all individual, CLIs that they have written. I think there is some folder here. Yeah, source/CLI, I think contains, for example, setup.ts. So let me go down here. I don't see it here. Setup source/commands contains, a setup.ts, which is a code that runs when you call the very first command that everyone needs to call the very first time you're initializing Clawdbot. So the first thing you do is Clawdbot setup. In my case, since I'm running it locally, pnpm run start setup. This returns an output like this. If you look at the setup.ts file, you can read what exactly happens when you do it. Setup command is the function that gets called. You can pass it a bunch of options, which are probably, flags that you can add over here. For example, -- workspace. Whatever workspace you add, which is a directory where you want to store, a specific session, you can create basically, one workspace for your work, one workspace for your personal stuff. By default, this is in the Claude folder in your root folder. If you don't pass anything, this defaults to Claude. If you do pass something, that is the folder where it will store all of your code. Desired workspace equal to, a bunch of things here. Basically, if it is a string, it trims the string. I mean, feel free to read the code. That's how I was trying to, read the code yesterday as well. Existing raw probably checks कि क्या ये config file already exist करती है. If it does exist, configure parts, is.default or this thing. These are the current agent defaults that you have. Workspace is desired workspace if you did pass something. If you didn't pass anything, then it's defaults.workspace. Or it is probably Claude over here, this home directory /Claude. So this is the function resolve default agent workspace directory, which will on a Mac machine return, tilde/ or whatever, home directory /Claude, which is the default directory. If you do pass in one, then the workspace variable becomes that, so on and so forth. It creates a default Claude config. It probably just writes it to a file somewhere here. Let's see where that is. Ensure workspace agent thing, fs.make directory, recursive true. It creates a directory and that's what it does. It doesn't do anything else. It creates a directory for you in the Claude folder. Eventually, I think these things are added, but this specific command, let me confirm, workspace work Harkirat. This specific command should, I think, just create an empty folder. It doesn't look like it's an empty folder though. Let's see. ls, this thing, it has a bunch of files. So somewhere here, it is probably creating those files. Let's see. This thing, write config file, create config IO. Not here. What were the files called? Identity.md, soul.md. So let's see if we can search for that somewhere. That's a lot of code. Can anyone else figure out ये files कहाँ कौन सी line of code से write हो रही हैं? Workspace setup command, desired workspace, if existing thing. Let's see where setup command is called. Onboard command, await setup command.
I guess.
What is it?
Setup.ts, line 66, there is a function called ensure agent workspace.
Ensure agent workspace.
That is default.
There you go. Here is where it creates, the sole path, the tools path, so on and so forth. So this function call loads the default template and probably does a, write file if missing. But why does it call it once? It should probably call it for every directory in a for loop. Sole paths equal to this thing, paths.map, fs. Sorry?
It's a promise also, I guess.
Where? Oh, this one? But it calls fs.accessp and not fs.write. Oh, write file if missing, write file if missing, there you go. These are the 6, function calls that write the 6 files in this specific command. So that's how I would, command by command try to see how to debug things. After you run the setup command, the next is the onboard command. This is all you need for, it to run. Onboard or onboarding, one of the two. Onboard hi to hai. Onboard, my bad. And this is the command that you go through to set up and start Clawdbot locally. Select yes over here. Quick start is fine. I have already done it once, so I can just use existing values. I am using, an Anthropic / Claude Code CLI. My token is expired, so I have to redo this to started. It expires every 18 hours or something like that. So for me, I had to go through an issue yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. Clawdbot / issues. Okay, this is the one that I was trying to solve yesterday. So we can look at this, and the one that I wanted to show right now was Claude Code. This one. So I somehow, basically after trying for half an hour, arrived at this specific issue कि Claude Code को इसके साथ कैसे चलाना है, and someone had instructions over here that I had to follow. I'll follow the same instructions to make it work. But for you, if you want to use whatever, in this case Gemini API key, select this, and enter your Gemini API key that you can find over here for free. Let's see. Create a new API key, copy it. Oh. Right? Oh, okay. Copy it, paste it. Model is fine. Select how do you want to talk to it. You can also talk to it through the terminal directly, so I don't think any of these are needed. But in my case, I selected Telegram. I probably already have settings configured this. So if you have created a bot on Telegram, it's very easy. If not, it'll give you the right instructions on how to set it up. I have already configured the skills. ये मुझे समझ नहीं आया exactly इसका क्या point है. From what I could tell right now, it is where does it store, all of your summarization, personalization. I could be wrong. Is it in a file? Does it log every event that is happening in an audit file? Or I would assume this is, some in-memory variable. I selected this one. Felt like the one that will, store most of the things. I already have it running, so I just have to restart. And I think that should be enough for you to have this running. Gateway service is the, WebSocket server that you interact with. And you can open it in the web UI. This way you can start to talk to it, from here. Let's see if it works. And it didn't. Open, let's see. Hello. So yeah, it's not working for me with the Gemini API key. Okay, I don't see any reasonable responses over here. Is that something that other people were seeing as well? Hello. So yeah, from here you have to debug how it will work for you. For me, I had to go through a bunch of issues to figure it out. For everyone else, is this working with the normal Gemini API key? It's not working right now?
They have changed the name, so I reinstalled, like Node was split करके I ended installing again. But it's giving me a lot of issues, like add cloud, /workspace, that does not exist.
ये नेम बदलने की वजह से.
हाँ, they changed the name.
Okay. So is anyone able to make it work right now?
Yeah, yes.
Few people are. Did you follow the same steps?
Yes.
Okay. Let me retry. Let's see. Oh. If it works the second time, quick start. Google API key. Is this the right API key that I'm copying? Okay. Gemini 3 Pro preview. I think that's fine. Telegram is fine. Skip. Yes. PNPM. I will select just one skill, Nano Banana Pro for now, randomly. And then wait for it to install. While this happens, let me show you the issue that I saw yesterday. I mean, you feel free to pick another one. There are like 100 issues being created every hour right now. The one that I saw was this one. It said cron job with WhatsApp doesn't work. I didn't want to give it access to my WhatsApp, so I just tried with Telegram. I saw something similar. Steps to reproduce, create a cron job and ask for a reminder in 10 minutes. The cron job appears. Now I don't know what this means. कि कहाँ पे you can track the current set of cron jobs. The cron job appears many times at different time, day or even year. So there's probably some logical error in what Gemini returns as the cron का जो वो होता है ना time के कब कब चलनी चाहिए, the if you've ever created a cron job, there is a pattern of, times that you have to give it. Something like this, okay, star, 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 star. 5 means every 5 minutes the cron job should run. Or this means every 10 hours and 5 minutes it should run. Or, something else. This means, okay, every day at 12, 10, 5 seconds it should run. So either the LLM isn't returning something right here. That's what this guy says. The cron job appears many times on a different day or even different year. Even when it is correct, it is not executed. So as soon as I saw the issue, I did not want to connect with WhatsApp, so I tried the same with Telegram, and I was able to, I think, recreate it. Flakily, though, at least nahi chal raha. At least at once I could see that it did not remind. So then the next question is, how do you installed? Actually fix it, like how do you find kaun si file mein change karna hai, so on and so forth. So I read a few things yesterday. We can go through it together and then basically put a bunch of logs and debug. That's probably the easiest way. So while this is installing, let's see if it works now. Hi, still doesn't work for me. Most probably means my Gemini isn't set up correctly. I can't think of any other reason. Let me try with Claude Code once and see if it works for me using that. Claude. Log out. Cursor. So I did a few things that were mentioned in that issue to make it work with Claude Code. At least yesterday it was working for me. Let's see if it works today. Use Anthropic. Go CLI. Modify settings. No. I think it should work this time. If not, then something has changed since yesterday. Hi. Nope, still not working for me. Oh no, it is. Yep, seems to be working. What did I change? I hooked it up to my Claude Code and not Gemini. Is there anyone who tried using Gemini and it worked for them abhi after the class? चल रहा है.
चला बट अभी वापस क्रैश हो गया,
रेट लिमिट हो गया. अब Gemini है रेट लिमिट. Okay, cool. Good thing is हमें एक ही चीज़ solve करनी है अभी के लिए, which is remind me of a meeting in 5 minutes. And we need to hope कि 5 मिनट बाद यहाँ पे रिप्लाई करेगा हमें कि हाँ you have a meeting or whatever. Okay, it did say this, it added a cron job or something. Basically gave me a lot of things here on it, and then echo this thing. It called a tool, I would assume, that outputted the current time. It called the, what do you call it? The bash tool to output the current time on my machine plus, I would assume this is 5 minutes, 30 into 5 into 60 is 30, right? So the current time plus 5 minutes से उसने output किया कि 5 मिनट बाद क्या epoch timestamp होगा. That's the first tool it called. The second tool it called, this is just the output of the first tool. The next tool it called is the cron tool. So basically this is the tool that it calls to actually initiate a new cron job on my machine. And I would hope, after 5 minutes, the cron job triggers and, whatever I see an output over here. Cool. So now the question is, where are all the tools? Specifically, I want the cron tool that exists somewhere here. ये मैंने शायद कल खोला था इसलिए ही टॉप पे आ गया. But there is source agent tool / cron tool.ts, which is probably the tool that got called over here. This thing right here to start a new cron job. इसमें भी I think it's telling the method of the tool that was called, that is add. So probably need to search for add or something here. Basically, I would assume this. I would assume this is where the control reaches whenever the cron.add tool is called. This is where I would start to log and see what is happening. Let's try to see ये लोग cron jobs करते कैसे हैं. I saw something yesterday. I think that is how they do it. Like, how do you expect someone to run a cron job? या तो वो एक cron tab करके होता है आपके Linux में. If you created cron jobs in the past, any Mac machine, Linux machine, there is a file that you can edit, put your cron jobs over there in textual format. वो every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes जो भी है call होती रहेंगी. That is one approach. The other approach is इसका जो thread चल रहा है, जहाँ पे gateway चल रहा है या कुछ और चल रहा है, वहाँ पे put a set timeout कि हाँ इतने टाइम बाद कुछ करना है. If I told it keep reminding me every 5 minutes, it probably would have done a set interval. Any guesses which one of these it does or should do? I would have guessed ये cron job बनाता है natively, but I think ये लोग set timeout बनाते हैं क्योंकि yesterday when I was looking at the functions, I eventually reached a set timeout where I think the bug is. There is a set timeout that starts the next cron job, but I think there's a bug over there that causes for you to not see a reminder after 5 minutes. So let's try to read इसके अंदर क्या हो रहा है and where the bug might be. I'm also figuring this out with you. मैंने थोड़ा कल देखा था, उसके बाद I slept. So I'm also trying to figure out कि यहाँ पे हो क्या रहा है. This function probably, I would actually try to put a bunch of logs here to see params में क्या आ रहा है. So I'll be able to make more sense of it. But let's do that after 5 minutes, after we confirm कि ये चल रहा है या नहीं चल रहा. Until then, let's just try to read the code and understand what they might be doing. This is just adding a few defaults to the cron job, I would assume. Normalize cron job create, probably is just जो input आया है उसको थोड़ा साफ कर रहा है, pad कर रहा है, ऐसा कुछ कर रहा है. It's not really creating the cron job, I would assume. ये जो params और job variable है इसको थोड़ा और enrich कर रहा है, that's it. Bunch of checks. Build reminder context lines. Build reminder context lines. I don't know what this function does. If I had to guess, it spits out the output it expects to give after 5 minutes. 5 मिनट बाद क्या रिप्लाई जाना चाहिए. I think वो यहाँ पे वो निकाल रहा है based on the message history. I could be wrong. That is why we should put some logs over here and figure out what this does. Oh, but that's it. Oh, it seems like it calls something else from here. Call gateway tool cron.add. So I think the actual logic to create a cron job इसके बाद आएगा, अभी नहीं आएगा. I could be wrong. I would ideally put a log here and see what this is and what this is. But my guess right now is कि execute function में control तो आ रहा है. It's just doing a bunch of things, but it's not really creating the cron job or calculating कितना time बचा है, so on and so forth. So I will look at what this function does, or I will search through the code base for cron.add or something. Call gateway. Yeah, I would assume actual cron job इसके बाद ही कहीं ना कहीं execute हो रही है. Cron.add. Call gateway. If anyone else finds it, do let me know. This is one place I see cron.add. These are the methods that probably our server supports. yeah. I see another function here. I think ये तो वही function है जो हमने अभी खोला था. नहीं, this is a different function, a different place where I see the same thing. Whenever cron.add is probably called on the gateway, I would hope ये कहीं gateway में exist करता है. Gateway server methods cron.ts, the original file that we saw, वहाँ पे it called call gateway tool cron.add. यहाँ पे this is gateway slash cron.ts, where there is cron.add का handler I would assume. तो यहाँ से वो इवेंट डिस्पैच हुआ, यहाँ पे वो इवेंट पहुँचा, यहाँ पे कहीं पे it probably is creating the cron job. Normalize cron job create import. ये तो I think पहले भी कॉल हुआ था फंक्शन. Same function is being called here again. Context.cron.add ops.add. Okay, there is another class called cron service, which is probably storing all the cron jobs. It imports something from something else called ops, जहाँ पे it calls ops.add, where there is a job create function that gets called state.store.jobs.pushJob. So this is where the cron job is being stored somewhere, pushed in a state variable, which probably is being persisted somewhere in the file system, so that if you refresh, the cron job is still present. तो क्या हो रहा है, एक memory में variable state.store.jobs is probably containing all the list of upcoming cron jobs, and it's also being persisted probably to the file system. Yeah, in some store path slash process id slash random string dot temp file. Okay, and this emit probably somehow tells जिसने कॉल किया था टूल को कि ये जॉब ऐड हो गई. The question is how are jobs getting popped from here and actually being executed, and how is it ensuring कि ये जॉब हो गई 5 मिनट पास हो गए हैं, and I think इसने रिमाइंड नहीं किया. So the bug is clearly there. There is clearly a bug. I ask it to do something. It also calls the cron job का tool, but I don't receive a message back. Feel free to try it on your side also, but this is a clear bug. And now we can start to debug everything. I would assume यहाँ तक तो control पहुँच ही रहा है. In fact, it was persisting it to a file, so you can actually maybe open that file and see कि उस फाइल के contents क्या हैं. Even though this is I would need to basically put a bunch of logs. Let me put a log right above this persist call, so I know where it is actually storing that list of cron jobs in the files, so I can open that file and see कि इसने क्या store किया exactly. I have an assumption around how functions are being called, so I would like to prove that assumption. I will go to tools/cron tool, and my assumption is सबसे पहले यहाँ पे control आता है, so I'll put a log here. I don't know if logs work. Okay, if I'm writing a log here, if I actually see it here, I would assume not. So I would probably have to do something else, जैसे prompter dot कुछ लिखा था यहाँ पे. If I go to the onboarding screen, I will search for this through the code base, and I will see कैसे log हो रहा है. Setup. I want to see ये log कैसे हो रहा है. runtime.log something, and runtime comes from, oh boy, it's a variable. Default runtime, which comes from, I don't see an easy place where I can grab this. Let's console.log for now, and let's hope कि console.logs दिख जाएंगे. Let me rebuild the project. because I don't know if he automatically कर रहा है, probably not. So I will rebuild the project. What is the change I've made? I've just added a high line here in Cron's tool/Cron just to see कि क्या ये मुझे टर्मिनल में दिखता है. If I see this in the terminal, then debugging will become easy. If I don't, then I have to figure out कि how do I actually log something in the terminal. So let's see. I should probably run a different command now. Onboard configure. How do I open an existing gateway? Sessions. This one. How do I attach to this session now? Or maybe I don't need to. I can just refresh the page. It will still work, right? Create. But where do I see the logs? Yeah, I basically need to figure out इसके logs मैं कहाँ देखूँ अब. The process is running, but I need to know how do I attach myself to this. Does anyone know here? Maybe this. Login verbose. Hopefully.
You can do PNPM start gateway.
PNPM start gateway. That would start.
That would start UI as well, and you can see logs.
Yeah, but the thing is, gateway is already running, right? I need to somehow attach to or I'll just stop and restart the gateway. It's fine. If someone figures out, let me know. I'll just quickly redo the onboarding. Yes. CLI, this thing, skip, no, this restart. So I just restarted the gateway. I just need to reach this terminal again so that hopefully I can, see the logs. I'm sure there is an easier way to do it. But let's see if this works now. Gateway service restarted. Hatch in UI. Can you create remind me of a meeting in 5 minutes. Now I'm hoping to see a log here. If I don't see a log, which I don't, then we have to figure out a different way to basically log the things that I want. Basically हमें ये चाहिए, I'm pretty sure this is getting called. So the control does reach here, but whatever I'm logging, I'm not able to see here, and hence I can't debug. So the question is, what do I put over here? Sorry?
It's a TUI, it's not
I get it. Yes, exactly. I was hoping कि वो दिखाता रहेगा. What do you think the answer is?
same the thing that is runtime.log.
But we don't have access to a runtime variable here, right? Wherever we saw it, we had access to a runtime variable. We don't have access to any variables over here.
Are we doing gateway watch?
Are we doing gateway watch?
Because there you can console log.
Okay.
I tried it and the console log works in gateway watch.
PNPM start gateway watch. All right, that should hopefully do it. PNPM start.
Remove the
Oh, PNPM gateway. There you go. Nodes gateway. This will probably start a new gateway only, I think. Maybe not. Okay, let's send you remind me of a meeting in 5 minutes. Web chat connected something if I. Hi there from the beautiful, thank you. I can see the logs. I can also see के jobs कहाँ पे log हो रही हैं. Let's try to see. There are like a few jobs over here. and they should probably get removed as they are happening. But मेरी कोई भी cron job I'm assuming execute ही नहीं हुई. Yeah, is there like done or something over here? Next one at this thing, this is in schedule kind of thing. It has everything. It is probably storing a variable of these cron jobs. It is just not scheduling them correctly. So that is the next step, figuring out कि ये चल क्यों नहीं रही हैं cron jobs. So if you remember, there was a state variable where it persisted the cron jobs. Cron CLI, where is it? Cron service. Let's see, gateway, cron, यहाँ पे dot add, cron service. This should probably have some loop that runs, that checks wake, there you go. Ops dot wake now this dot state. Okay, where does this wake function get called? Here. Cron handlers wake whatever calls dot wake. Where does this get called? There is no place that the LSP tells me that this gets called. Okay. ठीक है, there is a wake function that gets called, that calls this, that calls this, that calls state.deps.enqueue system events dot request heartbeat. I see a stop timer here. Oh, this is just timer functions, my bad. Oh no, but it is cron timer functions. There is a function called execute job. Mota we need to see why this function is not getting called. Console.log job has been executed. Console.log json.stringify job. This function is probably not getting called. This function gets called in a few places. One of them is this, a function called run due jobs, which gets called here on timer, which gets called here. Yeah, there you go. This is where I had reached yesterday also. There is a function called arm timer that gets called, that starts a timer for the hopefully next upcoming job. State.timer equal to null, next at equal to next what is the time it should wake, कितना time बचा है उस time को आने में, and then it starts, a timer. The first thing I would like to check is when I add a new cron job, does this get called? Called arm timer, I think it does. And then I would like to see कि ये timer का कितना time clock started to run a cron job after whatever, clamped delay. Now I would like to see कि क्या ये दोनों logs आते हैं कि नहीं. Is there any clock that is running to start the next job or not? I will rebuild the project. I will keep the logs running and gateway watch, gateway dev. I think this should be it. If can you create a new cron job, a new job for 5 minutes? Remind me of a meet 5 minutes. I will have to restart this probably, so I will onboard again. If someone found an easier way to do this, let me know. Yes, quick start, existing values, Anthropic, Claude code, this thing, skip, yes, PNPM, oh, sorry. One more time, yes, quick start, values, Anthropic. CLI, fine. Skip is fine. No is fine. Restart. All right. The logs were showing up here, I think. Job has been.
Why are we onboarding again?
I just want to see. When I rebuild the project, मेरा UI चलना बंद हो जा रहा है, इसलिए कर रहा हूँ. I'm sure there is an easier way, कुछ और. The gate.
पैकेज रजिस्ट्रेशन उसके को हम बोलेंगे TUI है, npm TUI करोगे तो वो आ जाएगा.
PNVM TUI? Okay, I will try that next. There's no other reason that I'm doing it. I, by the way, did see this. A job has been executed. क्योंकि कुछ jobs तो pending ही पड़ी थी. So this function did get called for a job that said, meeting reminder, time to join the meeting. You asked for 5 minutes ago. So these did get logged. The execute job did get called, even though it was a little late. Which probably means this got called, which probably means this got called, which probably means this got called, which probably means ये दोनों logs भी होने चाहिए. But I don't see. Oh, yeah. Called arm timer running a cron job after 10 seconds. So something to happened, but let's create a new one. Can you remind me of a meeting in 5 minutes? Now ideally it should call this arm timer function with the new cron job, but it didn't, which is where the bug might be. Okay, this is the function that actually starts the clock to actually send the user a message, but ये function call ही नहीं हो रहा है, and that is why the job never gets scheduled. Okay, so yeah, the current guess is arm timer function जहाँ पे call हो रहा है, getting called here and here. It is getting called in, I'm assuming this is cron.add. So I would have hoped console.log and then inside logged. This calls, sorry, what was arm timer, तो ये log आना चाहिए था, but for some reason we didn't see it. It also seems to be rebuilding the project again and again, so I can probably just do can you schedule for 5 minutes from now. Another new meeting. It scheduled another meeting, but control never reached this function which calls arm timer. There is another place this gets called from. It actually gets called from a few places. On timer. वो तो ठीक है, makes sense. Whenever one job gets cleared, it again calls this to start the new job. True. I do think इनको यहाँ पे भी इसको call करना चाहिए. I don't know if that's the bug. But I think arm timer should be called again in case something goes wrong here. Yeah, but I don't think that's the bug. ठीक है, सबको question समझ आ गया? Do you want me to do it? Do you guys want to do it? I'm okay either way. I think most of you are getting very bored seeing me code. तो yeah, मैं कर रहा हूँ, मतलब your call. Do you want me to continue doing this or do you guys want to do this and want me to move around? मैं poll कर लेता हूँ Zoom पे. There are two ways you can proceed. I can just continue down this route and then I can solve it, or you guys can solve it. I can independently solve it. यहीं पे बैठ के. How to proceed? Continue like this. we would like to solve ourselves. I'm okay either way. Let's see. 50-50-ish. Need to work like this. हाँ ठीक है. I think you guys can do it also साथ में. Do you want me to take a pause and explain something at any point? Yeah, are we good? I can just proceed. Any questions? There are 4-5 files I have touched. I have added a bunch of logs. There is definitely an error. The thing that where I arrived until this point is this arm timer is the function that gets called that schedules the next upcoming task. और जब भी वो upcoming task होती है ये on timer function call होता है that executes the tasks and calls arm timer again, which finds the next function to call and schedules the next function. फिर next function call होता है, it runs the next function, it calls arm timer again. The only weird thing that I see until this point is if this fails for whatever reason, we don't call arm timer again, which means there's no upcoming running clock. कोई clock run नहीं हो रही है. If any of these three things fail for whatever reason, that's the only weird thing that I see right now. Everything else looks very, normal. The other weird thing is that whenever I'm creating a new job, let's say I create a job for the next 3 seconds, I expect कि यार 3 सेकंड बाद वाली जॉब का टाइमर चालू हो जाए और जो दूसरा टाइमर चला था वो बंद हो जाए. तो I basically expect, हाँ ठीक है, make sense. I basically expect this function to get called. जब भी मैं cron job call कर रहा हूँ, I expect this function to get called. I do see it also here. Arm timer is called on whenever cron job.add is called, but I don't see this log whenever I am. Oh, I do see it. My bad. Called arm timer. No, sorry, this is a different one. Yeah, I don't see this log. तो मतलब हमारे log के थ्रू ये function तो call नहीं हो रहा. हमारे task के थ्रू ये वाला function probably call. Oh, sorry. कौन सा है? Yeah, I forgot. But either way, ये function तो call नहीं हो रहा. That is why arm timer is not getting called. Arm timer is generally called in this file recursively, which makes sense, or in this file. In this file, the only place where we expect it to get called is when the add function is called. Add function is not getting called. I don't know if we are missing something, if the logs aren't appearing, या फिर ये function कहाँ call होना चाहिए? ये function ये भी देख लेते हैं. Here, this तो definitely does get called, right? यहाँ तक तो control आ ही रहा था. We saw. Let me log again. This is probably the gateway cron job, right? So console.log cron.odd add called, and then यहीं पे कहीं पे कॉल हो रहा था ये after and then dot add, so dot log cron service dot add called and then dot add. यहाँ पे तो हमने डाला ही हुआ है. ये तो log नहीं हो रहा लेकिन for some reason. Let me rebuild the project and try it one more time. But from what I can tell right now, यहाँ तक control नहीं आ रहा है, which seems wrong because cron job add तो हो रही है file system में. That was getting added from here. So maybe just the logs aren't appearing. We'll see. I have rebuilt the project. I need to attach to it again. How do you do that? pnpm run TUI. Let's see. Okay, there we go. That looks fine to me. Hi. Okay, that looks good. Let me open the logs. जिसके लिए the command was gateway something. Watch. There you go. Let me close all the other terminals. It's getting a little confusing. Oh, close this one. Close this one. Close. This one has the logs. This one has the agent. This one also has the agent for some reason, which is fine, I guess. ठीक है. Let's look at the logs now. Remind me. Of a new meeting 10 minutes from now. Now I expect to see a bunch of logs. To kick things off, I expect to see gateway / cron. This log cron.add called. That's the first log that I expect to see. let me add this. Okay, cron add called after, cron source add called, it's क्या आ गया, सब आ गया, called arm timer आ गया, which was the main one I was looking for. If this got called, everything looks good to me. Called arm timer, because if this got called, that means clock has been created. And यहाँ पे भी मैंने logs डाले थे. हाँ, clock tried to run a job after these many seconds, which looks right. This is like 10 minutes or 600 seconds or whatever, 596 seconds, right? तो ये तो सही चल रहा है. Now let's try something else. Can you add another meeting 3 minutes from now? Remind me, please. Now I expect the same flow to happen and the 3-minute meeting overriding the 10-minute meeting. That looks fine. This is like after 3 minutes. So everything looks good. Now let's see 3 minutes बाद जो fire होता है कि नहीं. So ideally after 3 minutes, this set timeout should get called. That means on timer should get called. I have no logs here, unfortunately. But yeah, let's see if we get back a message after 3 minutes. Ensure loaded. If state.store return, okay, that makes sense. Run due jobs. Saying the filter. Okay, yeah, it should execute. That looks fine to me. Execute job. Does what? Job has been executed. So we have a bunch of logs. Let's see, does this log get called after whatever that was, 175 seconds. So that should probably happen at like another minute or so. ये टाइम अलग अलग है वैसे. The only other thing that can be wrong now is कि execution function में ही कुछ कमी है. फिर execute job emits something. Started at काफ़ी लंबा है ये. State.dev.run isolated agent job. Yeah, I don't know, we'll have to see. If execute job function gets called, मतलब the bug is inside the execute job function. What we're hoping for is कि function call ही ना हो. Then the bug is at the cron job layer, which is easier to debug. If the bug is at the cron job layer, much easier to debug. If it happens कि ये function call हो रहा है, हमें message नहीं दिख रहा, then it's a very difficult sort of a bug to मतलब basically हमें और चीज़ें देखनी पड़ेंगी कि how does it the message come back to the UI over here. I think 3 minutes have passed. And even after 3 minutes, I don't see what I was expecting to see, which was a log over here that said job started, which is a good sign. Oy. Sorry. Yeah, I think, oh, fuck, sorry. तो चल रहा है, मतलब this got called, done. Oh नहीं, इस बार रिमाइंडर भी आ गया, तो अब सब सही चल गया. तो it is flaky. It says you have another meeting in 3 minutes. Sorry, you've got. नहीं मैसेज नहीं आया यार यहाँ. ये तो पुराना मैसेज है ना, 6:31 का है. हाँ ठीक है. तो नाउ का मतलब द बग इज लाइक मच मोर डिफिकल्ट टू फिक्स, विच इज इसके अंदर कुछ बग है. हाँ, तो अब ये तो बहुत लंबा जाएगा. ओके, दिस फंक्शन इज आइडियली सपोज टू समहाउ थ्रो अ मैसेज ऑन द UI ओवर हियर. द फंक्शन execute job is somehow supposed to throw a message at the front end. At this point I would like to see कि cron job की जो फाइल थी वो कैसी दिख रही थी. उसमें कहीं पे लिखा था क्या कि मैसेज भेजना है. agent id main name meeting reminder schedule at this thing session target main. तो I think ये session target is how the message reaches somewhere, I would assume. System event, text, and a bunch of other things. Okay, I think ये system event वाली चीज़ मैं देखना चाहूँगा. Actually नहीं, इसी फंक्शन को डिबग करना चाहूँगा. फिनिश को बंद कर देते हैं. Probably gets called after everything is working. If job target is main, which was the case for our, was it session target is main, so control should reach here. If text equal to resolve job payload text for main, kind is not equal to system event, return undefined. In our case, it is system event. So it normalizes the text job dot payload, normalizes the text job dot payload. Sorry. Message dot trim, that is fine, and returns text dot trim. This is good. ये कहाँ कॉल हो रहा था? यहीं पे था. ठीक है. It gets back the text. Text says the right thing. If not text, a bunch of things. But in our case, text is fine. State dot depths. Cron service depths internal. Cron service depths. I don't know what depths mean. I would assume dependencies या ऐसा कुछ. Dot enqueue system event. If job dot wake mode is now. Job dot wake mode in our case is not now. It is next heartbeat. So else state dot depths dot request heartbeat now. Reason, some reason, await finish. Okay. ठीक है. Now we need to figure out and चलो it's fine. इसमें तो control जा ही रहा है. We need to figure out ये state dot depths क्या है. This is a type. Something is implementing this type. Probably this. No, something else. Let's see. This. Create service state which returns depths which come from whoever starts this. Depths कहाँ है? I don't see any depths here. New cron service. ये सारी चीज़ों को डिपेंडेंसी या depths कहते हैं. इसमें हमें request heartbeat now समझना है, which is this one right here. Request heartbeat now. Reason schedule. Timer equal to set timeout. Active equal to handler. There is a set timeout at a very small, I would assume, interval. Wait, active. Skip. The main is busy. Try soon. Okay. Eventually, घुमा फिरा के ये function call होगा. That would schedule this task, I would assume. So now I'm going to put a bunch of logs here. Scheduled task to run, and then request heartbeat now. Console.log. ये सब I think cron folder में ही exist नहीं है, infra में exist करता है. Requested heartbeat for an event. Let's see. Service is fine. Jobs. अगली जॉब एग्जीक्यूट भी हो जानी चाहिए थी अभी तक 10 मिनट वाली. Let's see if that happened. As I save the file, it seems like it refreshes the logs or something. Yeah. Okay. और कौन सा फंक्शन था, कहाँ पे थे हम? It was yeah, this one. So this did get called. I'm assuming control will reach here. So let me log here. Inside else statement of execute job and request heartbeat now. I see a bunch of things that are weird here. Request heartbeat is always an async function. They are not awaiting that before calling finish, which is not, doesn't look right. Either way, oh, yeah, a bunch of things that we don't care about. This did get called, and यहाँ के else में control did reach, which is this one, right? Should reach ideally, and this function should get called. ये function defined है यहाँ पे, and that should call schedule. But how does it know what is the job to run? Just knows the reason. Await active. What is active? Equal to handler. What is handler? Active equal to handler. Handler equal to next. So set heartbeat wake handler. Probably gets called here. Never gets called here. Array? There is a function that gets called request heartbeat now, but the function that actually sets the heartbeat handler to be, this event ka handler is not really called. Am I missing something? Oh, yeah, in queue system events. This probably calls it. In queue system events. Is this the right one though? Okay, let's just go to ये जहाँ पे था depths, which is called here, which was called here, where we said in queue system events, resolve cron agent session key, resolve agent main session key in queue system event. So this function right here, a bunch of things. entry.queue.push. Queues क्या है भाई? Queues is a map that exists in this file. Okay. Control should reach here. Let me log. Current queue is queue and normalized text content entry equal to yeah, this doesn't do much of what I would have expected it to do. NQ system event is the only thing that gets called before request heartbeat now is called. Request heartbeat now is defined here, which simply calls schedule, which will execute this handler, which is only set in this function, or actually it's in two functions. No, just one function. This one right here. तो ये तीन जगह कॉल हो रहा है वैसे, माय बैड नहीं, इंपोर्ट हो रहा है, कॉल हो रहा है, नल कर रहा है. दिस इज द ओनली प्लेस इट इज कॉल्ड. दैट मीन्स ये जो रन फंक्शन है should be called Okay, I've added a bunch of logs. We need to see what those logs are logging. Quick recap of what I did in the last 10-15 minutes. Here is the current state where I'm at. ये execute job function call हो रहा था, इतना हमें दिख गया था, these logs were coming, but we saw that the UI wasn't showing, आपकी मीटिंग आ गई है वगैरह वगैरह. तो यहाँ पे most probably this is getting called. That calls state.dependencies or deps, whatever that is, dot request heartbeat now. This is probably request heartbeat now का मतलब mostly ये है कि thread को भी बोलो ये चीज़ करे या ये handler run करे. Wherever this function is called, what actually happens is the following. Okay, it simply calls a function called handler, which is set नीचे यहाँ पे. तो ideally सबसे पहले ये set होना चाहिए. Set the heartbeat wake handler. ये मेरे हिसाब से ये कॉल नहीं हो रहा फंक्शन, which is the problem. I could be wrong, but I think this function is never called, which is why there is no handler to run. So let's do that. Ideally जब जॉब चालू होती है ये फंक्शन कॉल होना चाहिए, उसके बाद ये फंक्शन कॉल होना चाहिए, schedule task to run, and यहाँ पे भी whatever the handler should be the our event handler. Okay, I will rebuild the project, even though I think I don't have to do it, but I will still do it. I will restart the project. This was for the logs, and इसको बंद कर देते हैं. Close it, close it, close it. यहाँ पे logs आ रहे हैं, and यहाँ पे gateway watch. Okay, if I refresh. Can you remind me of a meeting in 2 minutes? Okay, 2-minute reminder set. I don't see any logs. Oh, sorry, यहाँ पे logs. Cron added, everything is good. Now after 2 minutes, something should happen. Can you remind me of one in 1 minute? Actually, can I do 30 seconds? Hopefully it adds another cron job for me here. Oh. Okay, so job should be added for 30 seconds later. 26 seconds where job should start, and hopefully it doesn't log one thing. If it doesn't log one thing, we know कि task schedule नहीं हो रहे हैं सही. Let's see. Job has been executed. Current queue is this thing. एक log मैं देखना चाहता था जिसके end में ये लिखा था YAY. I don't see that log here. So mostly, I think we know what the issue is. There was this log that I had put here. I was expecting to see this log. This is the only log that sets handler equal to something. This is the only log that sets handler equal to something. And handler is the thing that gets called here, that actually handles / executes the job. ये function तो call हुआ, schedule task to run. इसके अंदर कोई तो async function है, but most probably this isn't our function, क्योंकि ये हमने तो कभी set ही नहीं किया यहाँ से. We never set this specific function. That is my guess अभी तक. Does everyone understand what I am saying? जब cron job run होनी चाहिए, finally schedule होनी चाहिए, this function is the one that schedules it or runs it. As you can see, handler कहाँ है? Active equal to handler. ये लो, यहाँ पे वो task actual में run हो रहा है. But the problem is हमने इसको कभी set ही नहीं किया. It should be set over here. We never set that specific function to run. Because control never reached here, we never saw this ये वाला log. That's why I put ये at the end. कि अगर यहाँ पे ये आ जाता तो मतलब सब सही था. But since we did not see the log, current queue is, there we go, दिख रहा है थोड़ा कुछ. First time control came, it said current queue is empty. कहीं मैंने एक जगह क्यू देखी थी, वहाँ लॉक किया था। उसके बाद when the control came it said current queue is this, जबकि ये इवेंट तो हो गया 30 सेकेंड्स पहले। current queue should also be still be empty. Another meeting in 1 minute please remind. अब थर्ड टाइम आई एम होपिंग कि ये एरे बस बढ़ता जा रहा है। देयर इज अ क्यू दैट इज मेंटेनिंग ऑल ऑफ आवर क्रॉन जॉब्स बट द क्यू इज नॉट गेटिंग क्लियर्ड एज इट शुड। द क्यू इज नॉट गेटिंग क्लियर्ड एज इट शुड। ये क्यू मुझे कहीं तो मिली थी, हाँ ये क्यू मुझे वहाँ मिली थी। इफ आई गो टू timer.ts, ये रिक्वेस्ट हार्ट बीट नाउ करने से पहले इट वॉज इनक्यूइंग दिस इवेंट समवेयर। तो ये इनक्यू सिस्टम इवेंट मुझे मिला था यू नो डेप्स में जाके, यहाँ पे जाके इसको कहाँ स्टार्ट किया, वहाँ पे जाके यहाँ पे इन क्यू सिस्टम वॉट एवर, यहाँ पे इट वॉज कॉलिंग दिस इन क्यू सिस्टम इवेंट वेयर देयर वाज अ क्यू जो मैं लॉक कर रहा हूँ। ये एक क्यू में डाले जा रहा है सारे क्रॉन जॉब्स को, पर खाली कब करेगा क्यू को मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा। entry equal to queues.get, there is a global variable called queues I would assume which is an empty map. queues.get हो रहा है यहाँ पे, queues.set हो रहा है यहाँ पे, queues.push हो रहा है यहाँ पे, but queues.delete कहाँ, अच्छा ये रहा हो रहा है। drain system event entries, तो ये फंक्शन कॉल करो ना जब क्रॉन जॉब खत्म हो गई है, वो वाला फंक्शन क्यों कॉल हो रहा है मुझे समझ नहीं आया। ओके तीसरी बार कॉल हुआ, अरे क्यू अब एम्प्टी है। बीच में बिल्ड हुआ क्या? नहीं बिल्ड तो नहीं हुआ। क्यू बिकेम एम्प्टी फॉर सम रीजन, दैट मीन्स ये ड्रेन फंक्शन कॉल हुआ। मैसेजेस आए? मैसेजेस तो नहीं आए। Why did I not see a message here still?
There is some problem in the streaming में, when you restart TUI ना तो वो messages appear होते हैं, पर जब चल रहा है वो current session में तब stream नहीं हो रहा है, कुछ problem है इनका। If you restart TUI तो पुराने messages आएंगे।
ये रिमाइंडर्स आएंगे सारे?
मतलब मेरे को क्रॉन दिख रहा है TUI पे, इधर नहीं वेब पे नहीं पता।
ये क्रॉन दिख रहा है, क्रॉन क्रिएशन दिख रहा है या फिर क्रॉन एग्जीक्यूशन दिख रहा है? क्रॉन जॉब बन गई ये चीज दिख रही है।
उसमें एक सिस्टम मैसेज है और उसमें रिमाइंडर योर मीटिंग से 30 सेकंड्स लिखा हुआ है।
ओके तो आप कह रहे हो मैं TUI खोलूं?
हाँ ये गेटवे TUI इज वेरी
दिस वन आई डोंट सी एनीथिंग।
TUI नहीं है,
ये गेटवे है, वो है। TUI कैसे खोलूं? अच्छा PNPM TUI, ऑलराइट लेट्स सी। You are right, my friend. Cron ID this thing. मैसेज भी आ गया नहीं। 1 minute reminder set यही आया भाई। भाई ये कॉन क्रिएशन ही हो रही है। This cron thing that you see is the same as this cron thing over here, right? वो असिस्टेंट आपको बता रहा है cron जॉब बन गई। इसके ऊपर देखो क्या है, cron टूल। इसके ऊपर
उसमें लेकिन एक सिस्टम, हाँ ये जैसे लिखा है 30 सेकंड्स ऑफ मीटिंग नाम, ऊपर आप स्क्रॉल करोगे ना ये सिस्टम वाला मैसेज
डन 30 seconds।
ये टाइम के साथ सिस्टम मैसेज लिखा है।
ओह हाँ लिखा तो है। You are not wrong. There is a system message that appeared.
बट वो स्ट्रीम नहीं हो रहा है,
मतलब वो UI पे नहीं दिख रहा है, आप कह रहे हो। सिस्टम इवेंट तो ये तो
इस सेशन पे नहीं आएगा। अगर अपन फिर से स्टार्ट करेंगे रिमाइंडर 30 सेकंड्स का लगाते हैं तो वो दिखेगा नहीं 30 सेकंड्स बाद, बट इफ वी रीस्टार्ट TUI तो वहाँ आ जाएगा। वेब जो है नहीं पता मुझे,
पर TUI में भी नहीं दिखाता, रिफ्रेश करो तो दिखाता है ऐसा। पहले हमें लगा था क्रॉन जॉब क्रिएट करने में इशू है, वो नहीं है। फिर हमें लगा था क्रॉन जॉब चालू करने में इशू है, वो भी नहीं है। अब लग रहा है क्रॉन जॉब का फाइनल रिस्पॉन्स स्ट्रीम करने में एक इशू है ना। वेरी गुड।
आप अगर इशू नंबर 2202 सर्च करोगे पे तो आई वाज वर्किंग ऑन इट, तो मेरे को फिगर आउट हो गया
2202। Gateway sends empty messages on persistent API errors instead of user facing expression. I don't think this is this अच्छा
रेट लिमिट पे मेरे को आ रहा था कि स्ट्रीम नहीं हो रहा, बट
Got it.
TUI रीस्टार्ट करने पे वो आ रहे थे मैसेजेस।
got it ठीक है। So our learning until this point has been कि सिस्टम इवेंट्स कहीं ना कहीं क्रिएट हो रहे हैं। जैसे मैंने 1 minute रिमाइंडर डाला था, इफ आई रीस्टार्ट आई शुड सी इसका रिस्पॉन्स भी, राइट? आई डोंट सी इट फॉर सम रीजन, बट If I keep talking to it शायद आ जाएगा ऐसा.
And if we restart now, maybe we see it.
Okay. आया नहीं for some reason. ठीक है, मतलब flaky है but कुछ तो आया बीच में. I see these two. 30 seconds up, 2 minute up, another video remind. मतलब flaky तो है but चल भी रहा है बीच बीच में. यहाँ पे आ भी गया है. Coming back to मतलब हाँ सही है. I do agree. अगर अभी भी आ गया होता तो I would have taken a different route. Is there any need?
मेरे पास कि इसका 1 मिनट का रिमाइंडर कंप्लीट हुआ कि नहीं?
हाँ वही पूछ रहा हूँ. चलो एक बार अगर मैं TUI में करूँगा आप कह रहे हो एक और कर लेते हैं. Can you create a 30 seconds from now meeting? It should create a cron job and it will not show me the message, but if I restart it will show me the message. ये कह रहे हो?
ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है.
ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है. Let's see. अब इसने cron बनाई तो नहीं यार, मतलब
ये अगर आप रिस्टार्ट करें तो क्रॉन वाला मैसेज दिख जाएगा.
दिख जाएगा. ओके. UI पे भी दिखना चाहिए. I would hope. हाँ ये रहा, दिख रहा है. You're right. Okay, 30 seconds seems to have passed. I still don't see it. 30 तो हो गए. Now, अच्छा एक्चुअली लॉग्स भी देख लेते हैं ना, वो दिखा देगा जॉब स्टार्टेड और समथिंग. Yeah, I think it ran. Inside else statement of execute job. Is this the one? हाँ 30 seconds go. I don't see it here in the TUI. If I close and restart, do I see it? I don't now for some reason. मतलब flaky है. बीच में दिखा भी I agree. फिर उड़ गया. नहीं ये रहा. एक ही बार दिखा बस. बट उसके बाद नहीं दिखा. So there is some flakiness. Let's try to figure it out. In queue system events is what gets called finally, and some queue is where all of these get pushed. ये तो पक्का है. Try to read through this. Current queue is something. Key क्या है यहाँ पे? Require session key options dot session key. Agent ID आ रहा है यहाँ पे. Session key तो आ ही नहीं रही है. In queue system event. Session key context key. There is no session key that is called when we call this function. We'll go. This was called in many, but the one that we want is this one and this one. In case run text options, अच्छा session key equal to resolve main agent session key config and agent ID and some session key. Something. We'll see what the key is here finally. All right. अब queues.get key. Entry is this thing, and then created is this thing. Queues.set key comma created return created. Oh, okay. Queues.get this thing or create a new one, and then text.trim entry.last context this thing. Okay, skip consecutive duplicates. Entry.queue.push something, and that is it. Okay. In queue system events, drain system events. Okay. Where are they running though? इसको से normalize होना है. In queue system event got called. Queue में डल गया. Let's do this.
For me, every time that message comes.
For you it is coming?
Yes.
Okay, after you restart.
the UI.
Makes sense. The bug was on. मतलब you should figure it out. Bug was on WhatsApp. तो मतलब you have to figure out वो WhatsApp पे क्यों नहीं दिख रहा है या फिर वो WhatsApp पे तो refresh के बाद.
use करो मैं timer set करने के लिए. I see it.
You see it there. Do you see it in the Telegram though? हाँ. That's the bug, right? हाँ मतलब the bug is Telegram में नहीं दिख रहा है. I get it. मुझे भी दिखा बीच में. That is some progress. बट मतलब मान लो एकदम सही भी चल रहा होता कि बिना रिस्टार्ट के भी चल रहा होता तब भी द रियल प्रॉब्लम इज कि वो टेलीग्राम पे नहीं दिख रहा है. तो या तो ऐसा कि सिस्टम इवेंट्स आर नॉट मेंट फॉर टेलीग्राम, दे आर ओनली मेंट फॉर द टर्मिनल. दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि अगर यूजर ने कहा मुझे रिमाइंडर चाहिए टेलीग्राम पे तो उसको टेलीग्राम पे रिस्पॉन्ड आना चाहिए कि यू नो वट एवर. तो ठीक है, यू इन द राइट डायरेक्शन, कीप गोइंग. मैं भी कर रहा हूँ डिबग. एवरी 10 seconds आई वुड लॉग द क्यू. Whatever that was, sorry, queues. And now so this प्रॉब्लम इज आई डोंट सी एनी फंक्शन जो कुछ कर रहा है उस इवेंट के साथ. इवेंट्स डलते हैं और डिलीट होते हैं, दो ही चीज़ें दिख रही है मुझे. आई डोंट सी एनी फंक्शन हियर दैट एक्चुअली डज समथिंग विद द क्यू. ये क्यूज करके एक वेरिएबल बना है, उसमें चीज़ें ऐड हो रही हैं, गेट हो रही हैं, बट नथिंग इज बीइंग डन विद देम अनलेस आई एम मिसिंग समथिंग. आइडियली आई वुड हैव एक्सपेक्टेड यहाँ पे कुछ होता. Reset gateway test state. I don't think this is it. Yeah, it seems like a very independent file that maintains state, but क्यों export भी नहीं हो रही है?
Yeah. If you go to forward status summary, it's a function in TUI status summary.ts.
Sorry, TUI
That status dot.
summary.ts. हाँ.
इसमें line number 25 पे they are pushing system वाला message. And that's like summary है ये. So
Okay. You're saying वो लॉग यहाँ से आता है ऐसा?
हाँ.
मेक सेंस. तो कभी भी लॉग ऐसा तो नहीं कि भेजा गया हो यूज़र को. क्रॉन जॉब चालू हुई, उसने कुछ कर दिया, मैसेज वो रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं कर पाई यूज़र को. इशू क्या था मैं तो भूल ही गया. क्रॉन जॉब विद व्हाट्सएप डज नॉट वर्क. हाँ मतलब मे बी दिस इज़ अ फीचर दे डोंट सपोर्ट ओनली. अभी ये भी टोटली पॉसिबल है कि ये चीज़ अभी सपोर्टेड ही नहीं है कि क्रॉन जॉब्स कैन एक्चुअली रिस्पॉन्ड बैक टू द यूज़र. बट आई डोंट थिंक दैट शुड बी द केस. आई थिंक दिस इज अ वेरी ऑब्वियस यूज केस टू सपोर्ट that they probably already support and it's just not working because of a bug right now.
वो error वाला भी correlation है.
क्या है?
वो rate limit वाला error का भी correlation है. It's in summary but it is not stable.
करेक्ट. वो तो मुझे लग रहा है कहीं ना कहीं लॉग्स है, मतलब वो द सिस्टम इवेंट्स आर जस्ट लॉगिंग फॉर सम रैंडम रीजन कि वो हेल्प करने के लिए टर्मिनल में लॉग हो रहे हैं और कहीं दिख नहीं. दैट्स माय गेस.
जब मैंने टेस्ट किया था टेलीग्राम पे रेट लिमिट का मैसेज आ रहा था बट इट वाज नॉट इन द TUI. रीस्टार्ट करने पे वो TUI पे भी दिख रहा था. सो इट्स वियर्ड, पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है.
मेक सेंस. बट कहीं UI पे तो दिखता हमें, मतलब यू नो
फोल्डर में क्रॉन सी है तो वहाँ रजिस्टर का है, एडिट का है, बट रिस्पांस के लिए कुछ नहीं है. इट हैज 4 फाइल्स.
दिस थिंग
यस,
इट ओनली हैज रजिस्टर क्रॉन CLI.
ऑल द फाइल्स आर ऑफ रजिस्टर एंड एडिट. देयर इज नथिंग फॉर रिस्पांस.
नहीं, दैट्स जस्ट रजिस्टरिंग द क्रॉन CLI. मतलब ये तो हर उसका एग्जिस्ट करता है. देयर इज एवरी CLI हैज अ register.ts. So it's just every CLI independently has a file, so does the cron CLI. It means registering the CLI with the parent CLI and nothing to do with what we're doing. Okay, here is where we are at right now, which is ये एक फाइल है system events.ts, specifically source infra system events.ts. जितनी भी cron jobs हैं यहाँ पे in queue होती हैं इस queues वेरिएबल में. निकलती कैसे हैं ये नहीं समझ आ रहा अभी. इस फाइल में तो कहीं दिख ही नहीं रहा कहाँ निकलती हैं. क्यूज वेरिएबल सिर्फ फेच हो रहा है, डिलीट हो रहा है, अपडेट हो रहा है. कहीं भी ऐसा नहीं हो रहा कि फ्यू. ओके वेल देयर इज अ फंक्शन कॉल्ड, अच्छा हैज़ है तो एक रिटर्न का भी होगा ना. हाँ, पीक सिस्टम इवेंट्स ये होगा. ये फंक्शन कहीं बाहर कॉल हो रहा होगा. हार्ट बीट रनर, ब्यूटिफुल. रन हार्ट बीट वंस, आई थिंक यहाँ के थ्रू कॉल हो रहा है वो हार्ट बीट रनर. रन हार्ट बीट वंस, रन हार्ट बीट वंस ही था. उसमें क्या था, टाइमर डॉट टी एस. रन हार्ट बीट नाउ था. रन हार्ट बीट नाउ तो इसमें है ही नहीं. हार्ट बीट रनर, रन हार्ट बीट नाउ कहाँ था भाई. हार्ट बीट रनर ही था. कितने हार्ट बीट रनर है. ओ रिक्वेस्ट हार्ट बीट नाउ, माय बैड. ये रहा ये रहा ये रहा. कहाँ है, अच्छा कहीं और ही है. हार्ट बीट वेक डॉट टी एस में है. और ये क्या था जो अभी हमने देखा था, पीक समथिंग समथिंग, पीक सिस्टम इवेंट्स, पेंडिंग इवेंट्स, प्रॉम्प्ट, कॉन्टेक्स्ट इवेंट समथिंग समथिंग समथिंग, डिलीवर आउटबाउंड पेलोड्स. लग तो रहा है कि ये सही फंक्शन है. आई थिंक दिस रन हार्ट बीट वंस should get called every time this thing happens. We saw run heartbeat, what's the other one? Run heartbeat once, and then there is दो हैं now, right? दूसरा वाला कहाँ है, request heartbeat now, which calls schedule समझ सा नहीं आया यार. रिक्वेस्ट हार्टबीट वंस आइडियली कॉल होना चाहिए. अब या तो सिंपल सा बग ये है कि यहाँ पे रिक्वेस्ट हार्टबीट नाउ कॉल होना चाहिए था. सॉरी वट एवर, वंस कॉल होना चाहिए था एंड नॉट नाउ. मे बी दैट इज इट. वेक मोड इज नेक्स्ट हार्टबीट और रन हार्टबीट वंस नॉट अवेलेबल. मतलब हमारा गेस है कि रन हार्टबीट वंस इज वॉट शुड गेट कॉल्ड. ओ बट इट डजंट एग्जिस्ट. This thing. Wake mode कहाँ लिखा है? This is just a variable. हाँ मतलब इट्स, हाँ ये जो क्रॉन जॉब थी हमारी उसके साथ एक वेरिएबल है जो डिफाइंड है. यहाँ पे आता है मतलब वेक मोड ना. क्रॉन जॉब में एक और एलिमेंट होता है. इन आवर केस वेक मोड वॉज नॉट नाउ, इट वॉज नेक्स्ट हार्ट बीट. वेक नेक्स्ट हार्ट बीट और दिस इज नॉट अवेलेबल इज व्हेन इट कॉल्स दिस. The thing is, I think अगर यहाँ पे भी if run heartbeat once exists ऐसा कुछ होना चाहिए. I mean I could totally be wrong, but this is my guess. If this thing then this, else यहाँ पे we should call dot now. ये मेरा एक guess है. Oh sorry. If now exists called sorry if once exists call once, otherwise call now. Could totally be wrong, but this is the first thing that comes to head. Why? क्योंकि एक तो ये ऊपर यूज भी हो रहा है फर्स्ट स्टेट में if run heartbeat once exists. दूसरा the bigger reason is run heartbeat once actually peaks into the queue that we want, right? जो हमारी queue थी जहाँ पे events push हो रहे थे वहाँ से ये actually events को peak कर रहा है. Peak system events is a function that is called in run heartbeat once. The question is क्या ये क्रॉन जॉब में वो होता है, क्या होता है बताता हूँ. इनक्यू सिस्टम इवेंट्स, अरे बाप रे, फॉर क्रॉन. हाँ इट इज हियर. तो आई थिंक इट शुड बी फाइन. Let's see. I've added an if check. I think the if check should succeed, by which I mean control should probably reach here. because this does exist यहाँ पे. Run heartbeat once is passed to the cron service, which means यहाँ पे .deps.run heartbeat once should exist, and run heartbeat once at least queue के साथ कुछ कर रहा है. जिस queue में हम इन क्यू कर रहे हैं ये वहां पे पीक करके निकाल के कुछ तो करता है, वर्सेस जो दूसरा फंक्शन था ये वाला, ये तो उस क्यू के साथ कुछ कर ही नहीं रहा. तो मैं हाँ
अगर हार्टबीट वंस है देन इट इज स्किपिंग होल इफ वैल्यूज. इफ में कुछ लिखा ही नहीं है, रिटर्न कर दे डायरेक्ट, इट इज नॉट कॉलिंग इट, वरना वो कॉल कर देता ना.
सॉरी ये वाला इफ कह रहे हो, इसमें ये भी है ना वेक मोड नाउ लो कंडीशन. ऑलराइट रीस्टार्ट pnpm run gateway colon watch. वो पहले बिल्ड करना है. सॉरी चल रहा है क्या? बंद कर देते हैं. बिल्ड एंड देन क्या क्या था भाई, एक तो है वॉच, एक तो है टीओआई, दो ही चीज. ओके सिर्फ टीओआई से बात करते हैं, यूआई को छोड़ देते हैं. कैन यू रिमाइंड मी ऑफ अ मीटिंग इन 1 minute? लेट्स सी. आई थिंक व्हाट माइट बी हैपनिंग इज हर्षित, स्ट्रीमिंग में इशू नहीं होगा. व्हेन यू एग्जिट राइट, जब तुम बंद करते हो टर्मिनल को, देयर इज प्रॉब्ली अ ड्रेन स्ट्रीमिंग इवेंट फंक्शन दैट गेट्स कॉल्ड, जो सारे उन क्यू को पूरा ड्रेन कर देता है. दैट इज माय गेस. क्या ऐसा नहीं स्ट्रीमिंग में इशू है? आई थिंक अदर इशू समथिंग.
When you put AI open, eventually I should get a message.
वही ना, इट्स नॉट ड्रेनिंग अंटिल यू एग्जिट द प्रोसेस. आप प्रोसेस को एग्जिट करते हो हाँ,
On start also.
या फिर ऑन स्टार्ट कर रहा होगा. हाँ ऑन स्टार्ट, यार ऑन एंड वो उस क्यू को खाली कर रहा है. ये मैंने लॉग करी थी एवरी 10 seconds और समथिंग. ये यहीं पे दिख रही है सरप्राइजिंगली कंपेयर टू यहाँ पे जहाँ दिखनी चाहिए. ये गेटवे में ही लॉग्स आते हैं क्या? ओके गेटवे में लॉग्स आ रहे हैं, इसमें फॉर सम रीजन लॉग्स आ रहे हैं अभी तो बढ़िया. और ये तो मैं बंद कर देता हूँ. डन सेट. आई थिंक दैट दिस माइट बी इट.
1 minute is up. 1 minute is up.
1 minute is up, but I didn't see any logs. वो उसको जॉब स्टार्टेड वाला लॉग तो दिखाना चाहिए था ना. जॉब हैज बीन स्टार्टेड वो तो दिखा ही रहा था. हो गया 1 minute पक्का. टर्मिनल हटा के मतलब ओके ओके. लॉग्स नहीं आते थे पक्का. अच्छा इसे तो जॉब क्रिएशन के भी लॉग नहीं दिया भाई, मतलब हाँ क्रॉन जॉब बनी ही नहीं. आप कह रहे हो इसको बंद कर दूं, इसको बंद कर दूं, और ओ ओके टर्मिनल बंद. फर्स्ट वन इज गेटवे वॉच. ओके सेकंड वन इज pnpm toi. कॉल्ड आर्म टाइमर. ठीक है कुछ हो रहा है. I see the logs. Can you create a reminder in 30 seconds? I worry कि से कम करूंगा शायद वो क्रॉन ही ना बनाए. अब यहाँ पे लॉग्स आने चाहिए क्रॉन बन गया है ऐसा कुछ. डन रिमाइंडर सेट. हाँ अब क्रॉन बन गया है. नाउ लेट्स वेट फॉर 30 seconds. ये तो नॉर्मल लॉग है जो आता ही रहेगा. आर यू श्योर कि मैप मैंने डाला है, एक इंटरवल पे डाल रखा है कि वो लॉग होता रहे. ओके bunch of things happen. Job has been executed. Queue is still full but now it's empty. Okay and यहाँ पे I don't see anything. अरे क्यू अभी भी भरी हुई है.
It's not executing at the time of execution, but when we restart it, maybe the start sequence is just clearing. But
Yeah.
The time is already gone.
Yeah something like that. यार हो जाना चाहिए था यार. I was very hopeful. Run heartbeat once. Run heartbeat once. Run heartbeat once. P किसी में हो रहा है ना. Run heartbeat once. Check if executive pending. So run heartbeat once. This is the one. So just here one and bunch of other things. Three. वो पीक कहाँ किया था इसने पीक console.log pending events के बाद सबसे चीज हो रही है इसमें ठीक है let's start one more time I've put in a bunch of more logs rebuild the project watch and then TUI let's see can you remind me of a meeting in 30 seconds job has been created we want to see a control कहाँ तक आ रहा है and does this pending events variable contain our cron job if it doesn't that means it's a good thing if it does तो मतलब फिर मतलब it doesn't मतलब easy होगा fix करना if it does contain a pending event then problem उसके बाद है let's see हाँ control reached 1 control reached 2 control reached 3 इसके आगे control गया ही नहीं तो control never reached beyond 3 here and यहाँ पे return हो गया skipped or something if his heartbeat content effectively empty or if not exec event reason ops dot reason equal to exec dash event हमने यहाँ पे क्या भेजा है टाइमर डॉट ps में रीजन इज क्रॉन कोलन समथिंग तो इट विल रिटर्न यहाँ पे रीजन क्या था यहाँ पे भी वही था रन हार्टबीट वंस रीजन क्या था क्रॉन कोलन जॉब था ट्राई इफ empty एंड अच्छा एंड है नॉट अच्छा हाँ तो ये तो ट्रू हो जाएगा हमने कुछ और भेजा है दिस विल बी ट्रू एंड दिस शुड ऑल्सो बी ट्रू तो मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली दिस इज बिकमिंग फॉल्स हार्टबीट फाइल पाथ से कुछ रीड कर रहा है ये ओके
Can we say if there is a chance कि आप write on after we create a cron?
yeah exactly that's what I'll do next uh yeah you're right workspace slash default heartbeat file name which is heartbeat.md cat lord slash heartbeat.md keep the file empty ah है तो ये खाली ही अब इसमें राइट कब हो रहा है ये कह रहे हो ना आप सही कह रहे हो बिल्कुल इसको देखते हैं आइडियली ये इन क्यू वाले उस पर होना चाहिए कॉल उस पर तो नहीं हो रहा ये कॉल ओ नहीं ऐसा कुछ मिला नहीं मुझे नाउ में कहीं ये भी क्यों कॉल कर रहा है रन हार्टबीट वंस अगर ये एक फाइल से चेक करता है हार्टबीट को इन क्यों फाइल सिस्टम हार्टबीट और एमडी में कुछ डाल ही नहीं रहा ये हार्टबीट और एमडी में कुछ नहीं डाल रहा तो इसके बाद यू नो
Need to expect that.
हाँ यहाँ रन हार्टबीट वंस विल डू नथिंग क्योंकि at least in queue system event is not putting anything in the heartbeat.md file unless I'm missing something but I don't think so तो let's see heartbeat.md file में लिखा कहाँ कहाँ जा रहा है where do we write to the heartbeat.md file यहाँ से हम रीड कर रहे हैं ये पता नहीं क्या कर रहे हैं अच्छी तो वो है बनाने के लिए इनिशियली ये तो बनाने के लिए ही था। इसमें हमने राइट कब किया भाई? हमने यहाँ से रीड तो किया, बट थ्रू आउट द कोड बेस इज देयर एनी स्पॉट वेयर वी आर राइटिंग टू heartbeat.md फाइल? आई एम श्योर देयर इज, बट वेयर? ये तो डिफॉल्ट वैल्यूज डालता है, विच फॉर दिस इज नथिंग। ये देख लेते हैं कुछ कर रहा है तो। राइट फाइल विद सम कंटेंट, व्हाट कंटेंट? ये कुछ कॉपी पेस्ट करने के लिए है, नो न्यू कंटेंट, दिस जस्ट चेक्स द फाइल। Where are we writing to the file for us to read and find something substantial here? I don't get that. The reason तो is this only कि यहाँ तक कंट्रोल आता है, ये भी काफी, फिर या तो वाइब कोडेड सा है या फिर हम मिस कर रहे हैं। विच वन? वही खोली हुई है शायद मैंने। नहीं, हार्ट बीट रहा, हार्ट बीट का प्रॉम्प्ट है heartbeat.ts, यहीं कहीं होगी आई वुड अज्यूम। heartbeat.ts, let's see. Auto reply. Reader says, follow it strictly. Do not infer repeat old tasks. Right? Nothing intention. Reply heartbeat. Okay.
And the start that is the heartbeat of the reply. Like wake up जब setup करते हैं onboard के बाद तब wake up अपन भेजते हैं and it replies heartbeat of the.
Okay. Okay. Is heartbeat content effectively empty? Is resolve prompt strip token at edges? This file might be interesting. इसमें I'm sure कुछ होगा, but अभी के लिए I'm back to the same point, which is why enqueue it in a state variable or a memory variable, but then try to run heartbeat once, which is from a file. That's one thing I would like to understand. I would actually like to go to this commit and see कब बना है और कैसे बना और किसने क्या लिखा है। तो this commit is split oversized module, which is not the best commit. मतलब अगर मैं इस commit में जाऊंगा, मुझे बस एक फाइल से दूसरे फाइल में चीजें मूव दिखेंगी, मुझे एग्जैक्टली मोटिवेशन ऑफ द पीआर नहीं दिखेगी, विच इज नॉट ग्रेट। अरे 11 मिनट्स अगो, अच्छा ये मेरा है, सॉरी। दिस थिंग रीफैक्टर स्प्लिट ओवरसाइज मॉड्यूल्स, हाँ। तो हम ये भी नहीं कर सकते कि हम एग्जैक्ट वो पीआर देख पाए जहां पे क्रॉन जॉब्स डली हैं। राइट नाउ द थॉट इज कि इन क्यू सिस्टम इवेंट्स में वो इवेंट जाता है, एंड आइडियली दिस थिंग शुड क्लियर दैट इवेंट, but doesn't seem like either of these two. I mean, this thing does touch the queue that we are pushing to here. This thing I don't think ever touches the queue जो हम यहाँ push कर रहे हैं। एक बार मैं फिर से कंफर्म कर लेता हूँ, pretty sure that doesn't happen.
The last week we had a set timer for the map, right?
Yeah.
The queue.
Yeah.
That queue and the one which had the execution one. Why was it not matched with some?
That queue and which queue?
The one we
The one we logged and
one that was logging in the set timer.
I only logged one set timeout wali, which
Like the details of the queue. We also had a log name queue has this and something like that.
oh really? Okay. I will, oh okay.
This one is having some issue.
एक तो ये दो हैं, for some reason they're like two. One is empty and one is something. But हाँ, you are saying we logged something else. Maybe. Yeah, maybe you might not be wrong. दो logs आ रहे हैं. Where did I put this? This was in I don't know which one of these was it. This was in run heartbeat once. In queue वाला कहाँ है? In queue. वेट, तो एक चीज आपने बहुत गलत कर दी यहाँ पे। कमिंग टू इट, एक सेकेंड, एक चीज है हार्टबीट रनर, वो एंड चेक था ना, इफ एंड नॉट दिस थिंग, तो ये भी ट्रू हो गया और ये भी ट्रू हो गया। हाँ सॉरी सॉरी सॉरी, तो never mind. हाँ, what I was saying was queue यहीं पे थी ना, queue कहाँ पे थी? queue system events, हाँ ये current queue is this thing, and ऊपर यहीं पे मैंने center में queue log करी है. I think they were the same only. I don't think there was any point where current queue was any different from the other one, but the only thing was कि दो दो log हो रहे थे. Probably because this file is important in two different threads. मतलब ये दो चीजें रन कर रहा होगा, and एक thread में actually it exists, other thread में doesn't exist, which is fine. As long as इस इवेंट में उस वाले में वो सही पहुंच रहा है. बट राइट नाउ द कंट्रोल इज नॉट इवन रीचिंग हियर द फंक्शन दैट इट शुड रीच to pull that event and actually execute it. This is the function that will actually pull that event and actually execute it. यहां तक कंट्रोल नहीं पहुंच रहा है क्योंकि ये इफ चेक उसको चेक कर रहा है. क्या ये इफ चेक के हम पीआर पे जा सकते हैं? 2 days ago, 2 days ago guys, इसकी पीआर खोले जरा. This has been added 2 days ago. Very high probability, यहीं पे bug introduce हुआ था. Let's see. PR कहाँ है? This is the PR. Can you tell me something funny by calling this thing summary add support for forwarding exec approval requests to Discord DMs, allowing us to approve deny commands with the traction buttons? Okay. This is a PR that did a bunch of things. One thing that it did was heartbeat.ts में, यहाँ तो कोई heartbeat है, ये heartbeat.ts में, ये तो इंट्रोड्यूस ही अभी हुआ है भाई, पीक सिस्टम इवेंट्स वाली चीज, इससे पहले थी ही नहीं. An ASIC command is completed. No, please relay. भाई साहब, मेरे हाथ तो खड़े गाइस. मतलब आई एम श्योर देयर समवेयर एंड देयर इज सम प्रोबेबिलिटी कि यहाँ पे कहीं पे वो बग इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ है. एंड द नेक्स्ट थिंग आई वुड डू इज आई वुड गो टू दिस कमिट -1 एंड ट्राई टू सी वहां पे क्रॉन जॉब चल रही थी कि नहीं. अभी तक मैं जहां पहुंचा इतनी मेहनत करने के बाद, वो तो लग रहा है 2 दिन पहले ही डला है, विच इज दिस पीक इवेंट्स एंड उसके बाद कुछ करना. तो मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली दैट इज रॉन्ग. पीक इवेंट्स एक बार मैं समराइज कर देता हूँ. अभी तक क्या देखा हमने? हमने ये देखा कि कॉल तो होता है फंक्शन करेक्टली. एग्जीक्यूट जॉब फंक्शन डज गेट कॉल्ड एट द राइट टाइम. 5 मिनट पे क्रॉन है तो 5 मिनट बाद ये कॉल हो रहा है. इसमें एक इफ एल्स था, which is this one right here. Our wake mode is not now for the cron jobs we created, so it for sure reaches else. Else में by default it was calling request heartbeat now. Request heartbeat now looks something like this for the cron service. It looks something like new cron service, not in the test but here it looks like this, which calls this run heartbeat once function, which nowhere does it do something with a queue that we added things to. Run heartbeat once. Okay. No, sorry, my bad. That is not what it was here. It was run heartbeat now. ये तो मैंने डाला था. इसको अगर मैं हटा दूं, by default this is what was there in the code base before. And if you see this function, run heartbeat now, it is simply imported from a different file, this one right here. And if you go here, it simply calls schedule, where it calls a handler जो हम कभी सेट नहीं कर रहे थे. So I think the problem still remains the same. ये handler कभी सेट ही नहीं हुआ है. Either we need to call set wake up handler here rather than calling in queue like state dot deps dot this thing. That also means you need to expose this in the dependencies. पहले उसको set करो, उसके बाद ही वो request हो. That could be one direction. Because right now it just seems like this is pushing to one in-memory queue and this is getting it from someplace else. This is a system event queue, this is a heartbeat queue or whatever. So it just seems like a गलत लिखा हो. जिसने भी लिखा है मतलब बस कुछ करके लिख दिया है. Or I'm totally wrong. Either of these could be the answer. But हाँ, this is where we're at. To try to fix it. मैं भी करूँगा. मैं बस खड़े खड़े थक गया हूँ तो मैं बैठ के इसी को solve करूँगा अभी. But you should try to do it as well. If you find something, do let me know.